Biodiversity is spread across land, air, and water. But just as a tiger or even humans are suited to living on land, the fish are adapted to a life in water. While birds and insects or bats know how to fly in air. By its appearance itself, you can tell that this animal naturally is found in snow-laden areas. Yes, it is the polar bear of the Arctic region. Notice how well its fur is blended with its snow-clad habitat. The polar bear has thick, oily fur coat over itself as well as a thick, fatty layer underneath to keep it warm even in the extreme chilly temperature range. Its feet help the animal to walk on snow without slipping. Similarly, this animal is someone you are very much familiar with. The black bear. A black bear weighs almost half that of the polar bear and is slimmer than the polar bear. Its legs have claws that help it in climbing up trees, as its feed includes tree fruits, berries, honey, etc. The black bear's claws are very sharp and paws are very strong to kill the prey in one punch. Now, let us try something exciting. Can you find something odd in the pictures? You can easily trace the presence of black bear in the frame. But were you able to spot the Arctic hare, which is a kind of rabbit? There is a polar bear along with the brown hare. Can you spot both easily? Which one did you spot easily? The polar bear, of course, because forest is not its habitat and its white fur stands out in the backdrop of the forest. This animal is the red fox of the tropics. Now compare this animal with the one on the right. This is also fox, but does it show some difference from the earlier one in its appearance, in its environment, its body structure, etc.? It is the fluffy and furry Arctic fox. So, the habitat or the place where two kinds of foxes live is different, and so is the appearance of their body. They also differ in their feeding habits because they are each adapted to own habitat where their food is available and their coat helps in camouflage. A snow leopard has white hairy body to live in snow-capped mountains successfully. In other words, it is adapted to a life on snowy mountains. These black and white feathered birds are found in polar regions. They can live and move effortlessly on snow. But all these organisms need to have specific areas where they can live, get their nourishment and propagate most successfully. And that is what is their habitat. Plants and animals live in different habitats. A habitat is the home address of a living being in the vast environment on planet Earth. The features that help plants and animals live a successful life in their respective environment are termed adaptations. The tiger stays in lush green forests and hides itself and waits to catch a prey, which may be a deer. The deer, on the other hand, can run fast and vanish among trees of the forest to save itself being caught by the tiger. Camel is a desert animal which has long eyelashes to prevent entry of dust in its eyes. Its feet have membrane between toes which helps it to walk in sand. A lotus will survive in a water body as it has floating and broad leaves. This plant needs minimum water conditions for its survival. Is basically a desert plant. These thrive well only in areas with standing water. These require cool climate with moderate amount of water. Plants and animals have adaptations to help them lead a successful life in their respective habitats. A place where an organism or living being has easy access to food, shelter, can reproduce, has hideouts to protect itself from its enemies, can hide himself from its prey. Adaptations help in successful survival in many ways. In breeding, in procuring food, for smooth growth, anchorage and movement, above all, in camouflaging or protecting themselves. So, some common adaptations which we can observe and recognize commonly are: a cactus with its spongy stem and spine-like leaves help to reduce transpiration. They live in the water-scarce desert and are adapted to conserve water. The roots of water hyacinth are fibrous as water is readily available. The animal shown on the left is desert rat and it has certain characteristics. It is active during night and has long slender tail. The animal shown on the right is muskrat and it has different characteristics. It is active during late afternoon and has a smaller tail and use it for propulsion in water. You may discuss these with your teacher and in groups. Places where living beings find food, shelter, can reproduce and can protect themselves are called their habitats. Therefore, the habitat of fish is water, deer is forest, camel is desert, cactus is desert. The animals and plants living in a habitat have certain features that make them well suited to live in their habitat. These features are known as adaptations. Temperature in the hot desert may reach 50 degrees Celsius during daytime. The rainfall is also much less in these areas. Such conditions make survival of plants and animals difficult in the desert. Only those plants and animals that are adapted to conserve water are found in hot deserts. How does cactus survive in desert? It has a succulent stem that stores water. Observe the green color of the stem. The stem has chlorophyll and can carry out photosynthesis. What is the role of spines on the cactus? Spines are modified leaves reduced to spines. Since leaves transpire and in cactus they are reduced to spines, water loss is reduced. Cactus has a shallow but extensive root system. It enables the plant to readily absorb rainwater before it goes into deeper layers of soil. Kaner or nerium is also a common desert plant. Have you ever noticed that the leaves are stiff and leathery? This reduces loss of water through transpiration. This is a kaner leaf cut transversely. Note the thick cuticle. It helps in reducing water loss through transpiration. These are stomata. See how these are placed in deep cavities that are crowded with hairs. The cavities and the hair hold water vapor over stomata. As a result, the leaf loses very little water through transpiration. The common desert animals like the desert lizard, desert snake, kangaroo rat and camel also face less availability of water. Observe carefully the skin of the desert lizard and the desert snake. The skin is scaly. Such a skin prevents water loss from the body. These animals burrow into deeper, cooler sand during daytime. This not only helps in preventing water loss, but also escaping high temperatures. Camels are known as the ships of the desert. They are very adapted to the desert habitat. Nostrils can be closed to prevent entry of sand. Long eyelashes of camel help to protect the eyes from sand. Tongue is enclosed in a thick membrane to minimize water loss by evaporation. The hump has a store of fat. When broken down in the body, releases water and energy. This water can be used up by the body. Thin fur and little fat below the skin allow the loss of heat produced in the body. Its feet are large with membrane between toes. The feet help in walking on sandy surface without sinking into sand. Did you know that camel can drink up to 100 liters of water in 10 minutes when water becomes available? Also, the camels can survive without water for 6 to 8 days. The kangaroo rat does not drink water. It eats dry seeds. Also, it has no sweat glands and excretes concentrated urine. It uses water produced by the breaking down of food in the body. Such water is termed metabolic water. Compare the plants of a desert and a broad-leaved forest and write the differences. We notice that the leaves are large and broad in the plants of a broad-leaved forest. Broad leaves help in maximizing photosynthesis. This is a cross-section of a leaf. Observe that there is a large number of stomata near the surface. These stomata help in exchange of gases. The plants have a deep and well-developed root system which helps in absorbing lot of water. These are coniferous forests of the Himalayan region. The temperature is usually very low in these areas as there is frequent snowfall. These trees have needle-like leaves that help in reduction of water loss and step downward sloping branches. The limbs of animals like deer, nilgai, antelope are adapted to walk and run on firm ground. Deer, antelope, rhinoceros and horses run on the tip of the toes or hoofs. Tiger and lion are fast runners. They run on their toes or digits. Monkeys walk with the entire sole of the foot touching the ground. Observe carefully the foot of deer, tiger, cat, lion and monkey. Deer walks and runs on tips of toes or hoofs touching the ground. Hoofed mammals are known as unguligrades or they who walk on tips of toes. Lion, tiger, cat, dog walk and run on toes. Toes are known as digits. So animals walking on toes are known as digitigrade. Monkeys are plantigrades as they walk on the entire sole of the foot. Human beings walk on 2 feet. This is called as bipedal locomotion. Bipedal gait has made hands free. Hands can therefore be used to perform many other functions. Lungs of man, birds and other animals are adapted to use oxygen from the air or for aerial breathing. The heads of snake, shrew and mole have a common tapering shape. This tapering shape of head helps these animals in digging and burrowing. Some animals like the flying squirrel, flying lizard and tree frog are adapted to fly or glide in air and also to walk on land. Birds and bats are adapted to fly in air. They have wings to fly in the air. Wings of bird and bat are modified forelimbs. Flight muscles provide additional strength for flying. Air cavities in bones make the body light. The light body weight is an adaptation for flight. Animal and plants are well adapted to living in their habitats. Note the adaptations of various plants and animals. Living in different habitats. They adapt in various ways to their habitats. Observe carefully the shapes and movements of the animals. Animals such as fish living in water have streamlined body. The streamlined body helps them in swimming. Note carefully the movements of fish. An arrangement of muscles and a flexible backbone allow the fish to push its tail against the water. Note how the fins help the fish to paddle through water. The tail fin helps in pushing itself through water. The pectoral fins help the fish to move through different levels of water, that is, move up and down in water. Water enters through the open mouth of the fish. The mouth then closes. Water is pushed back to the gills. Gills take up oxygen from water. Did you know that some marine fish excrete excess salt through gills? Can you guess why? It is for osmoregulation, or keeping the osmotic balance of body fluids against salty environment. Many fish have a swim bladder which is filled with gas. The swim bladder gives buoyancy or upward thrust, which helps in swimming in water. Animals living in shallow water also show many types of adaptations. Have a close look at these animals and plants. Turtles also have streamlined body. Streamlined shape of fish or turtles helps them in swimming in water by reducing resistance caused by water. Did you note anything special about the shape of the body of crab? The flattened shape of crab facilitates swimming. Did you know that frogs are amphibious? They can live both in water and on land. Moist skin helps in exchange of gases when frog is in water. Lungs help in gas exchange on land. Webbed hind limbs help in swimming. The webbed feet of ducks make them good swimmers. Whales are good swimmers too. Note the paddling movements of flippers of whales, which make these huge mammals such good swimmers. Observe the plants carefully. Note down any adaptations for living in water that you can see in these plants. The lily plant can absorb water and mineral salts all over the surface. There is a waxy coating on the leaves. Water can run off easily over the waxy coating and the leaf is protected. Leaves float on water. Note the long and slender petioles or leaf stalks that hold the leaves above water. This is the transverse section of petiole. Observe the large air chambers. These air chambers help in keeping the petioles floating. The submerged parts of the plant remain aerated because of the air chambers. Note the leaves carefully. They are round and float on the water. The roots are fibrous since water is readily available. Petiole of the leaf of water hyacinth is swollen into a spongy bulb, often called pseudobulb. Pseudobulb has many air chambers to keep the plant afloat. These are submerged plants. These may be found at the floor of the pond. These plants have flexible stems and narrow leaves which help in withstanding water currents. These are mangroves. These grow in areas where the river meets the sea. It is a new metaphor. It is a specialized root branch of mangroves growing above water. It has pores on its surface. It also has intercellular systems of air spaces. These are rice plants that grow in standing water. Rice plants can grow long rapidly to keep stems and leaves in the air. Also, the stems and roots have air chambers so that oxygen can reach the submerged part. Now observe the common aquatic plants shown in the video clips and discuss them with your teacher. Make a list of adaptive features of the various animals shown in the video clip. Compare the list with that of your friends.